For the next lesson, we will tackle about the continuing professional development, the lifeblood of the teaching profession. The learning outcomes of this lesson is to explain why CPD is necessary for professional teachers. Second, discuss pertinent provisions of the CPD Act of 2016 and other related legal documents. Third one, commit to continuing professional development.
The professional license for teaching obtained after passing the licensure examination for teachers are that simply tells that the professional teacher possesses the minimum competencies expected of professional teachers. Hence, every professional teacher is expected to continue developing after obtaining his or her professional license. This is one big demand for a professional teacher because even though you already got your degree or license, it doesn't mean you don't have to study or learn new things as a teacher. Teaching profession is a never-ending learning. You still have to develop your learning and your expertise. The Code of Professional Conduct for Public School Teachers cited in Section 7 of Republic Act 4670 states, responsibility is something expected of a professional teacher. The work of the work of the teacher in the development and guidance of the young is a tremendous responsibility for which he is accountable to God, to his country, and to posterity. It is a trust of which every teacher should strive to be worthy. In fact, all professional teachers owe it to themselves and to the clientele they serve to go through CPD. When doctors and nurses commit mistake, they bury their mistake. When a lawyer commits a mistake, he or she puts his or her mistake behind bars. What about the teacher? When a teacher commits a mistake, he or she multiplies that mistake. A professional, therefore, cannot afford to commit a mistake. A professional needs to go through CPD. The Philippine Professional Standards for Teacher, or the Revised National Competency-Based Teacher Standards, includes personal growth and professional development as the seventh domain. With the enactment of Republic Act 10912, the CPD Law of 2016, CPD for all professional regulated by PRC or the Professional Regulation Commission is now mandatory. Mandating CPD is the only way all professionals, including teachers, are made to go through CPD. CPD for professional teachers is not an option. It is a necessity. Continuing professional development for professional teachers sharpens the professional teacher's competitive edge in a highly competitive global world.
Historical and Legal Basis of CPD, Section 5, Paragraph 4 of 1987 Philippine Constitution, the state shall enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. Under Article 14, Section 5 of 1987's Constitution, the state is mandated to enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. When we say mandated, it's mandatory to afford protection to non-teaching academic and non-academic personnel. Under laws are also called continuing professional development as follows. BP Batas Pambansa 232 or Educational Act of 1982, Chapter 3 on Duties and Obligations, Section 16, Paragraph 4. Let me read to you that one of the teacher's obligation is to assume the responsibility to maintain and sustain his professional growth and advancement and maintain professionalism in his behavior at all times. So every teacher must has responsibility to sustain the professional growth and advancement. Kaya po yung mga teacher ay nag-undergo sa mga workshop, meeting, yung mga seminar po is to update their learning. Kasi yung as you notice, yung educational advancement natin is nag-upgrade siya. dati po, before we relying on books and we use only Manila paper and pens, chalk and blackboard. But now, as you can see, our educational advancement upgraded. Now we have a lot of resources, internet, technology, and now we're using PowerPoint presentation and para po sa mga teacher, para ma-adapt po nila yung advancement na nangyayari sa ating edukasyon. To, like for example, hindi sila maiwan sa makaluma sa traditional ways ng pagtuturo. Like now, like for example, now we are now in online class, but as you can see, our teacher is nakikipagsabayin sila, even though may mga teacher tayo na medyo matanda, ganun. Pero ang galing nila gumamit ng mga technology natin. That is because sa mga seminar na naa-attenan nila at sa mga workshop na ginagawa nila. Republic Act 1955 or Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, an act instituting a framework of governance of basic education, establishing authority and accountability, renaming the DEX as the Department of Education and for other purposes, enacted on August 11, 2001. The purpose of this is to provide the overall framework for principal empowerment by strengthening principal and leadership goals, and also the local school-based management within the context of transparency. Under this act, Section 7, on powers, duty, and function, in addition to his or powers under existing law, the Secretary of Education shall have authority, accountability, and responsibility for the following: enhancing the employment status, professional competence, welfare, and working condition of all personnel of the department. The Secretary of Education has authority and responsibility to enhance the educational welfare and employment status. Professional competence, when we say professional competence, it is the skill, knowledge that valued by to our professional career. Like for example, there are critical thinking, the way we talk, communication, because of the seminars that the teachers already attended, the way that they communicate will improve, and at the same time the critical thinking will develop. Section 7, letter E, consistent with the national education policies, plan, and standard, the school head shall have authority, accountability, and responsibility for the following: encouraging staff development. When we say encouraging staff development, all the policies, practices, and procedures used to develop the knowledge, skill, and competencies of staff to improve the effectiveness and efficiency both of the individual and the university. Like for example, one-on-one meeting, training on schedule. Like for example, that seminars that our teacher already attended, and sa mga susunod pa na mga inattend na ng mga teacher. Like for example, hindi porket nakakuha ka na ng licensure, yun na yun. Yung mga teacher, nag-a-attend pa sila ng mga seminars, na-attend pa sila ng mga meeting na para ma-adapt nila yung pagbabago sa ating edukasyon. Nang sa ganun ay nang sa ganun ay yung quality ng pagtuturo ng isang guro ay masasabi nating mahusay at therefore kapag mahusay yung pagtuturo ng ating mga guro, yung estudyante is matututo talaga, magkakaroon ng quality education. Next one po is Republic Act 7836 or Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994. Art 3, Section 19, Periodic Merit Examination of Teachers to encourage continuing professional growth and development and to provide additional basis for merit promotion. In addition to their performance rating, teacher may take an oral and written examination at least once in 5 years as basis to merit promotion. In taking this examination, no fee shall be required. Philippine Teacher Professionalization Act to strengthen the regulation and supervision of the practice of teaching in the Philippines and prescribe a licensure examination for teachers. And sabi dito din, at least every 5 years, at least makatake ka ng isang exam. Wala naman tong bayad. At para lalong mapagtibay yung mga regulasyon at mga practice teaching of in the Philippines and prescribe a licensure examination for teachers. Dito pag yung periodic merit examination for teacher is to encourage continuing professional growth and development and to provide additional basis for merit professional. Ginagawa po tong examination na to, kailangan po natin siya matake para ma-improve po yung quality ng teaching po natin. At pagka na-improve po natin yung quality of teaching natin, yung quality na nabibigay natin sa ating mga estudyante is masasabi po nating satisfaction. Magkakaroon po tayo ng satisfaction. Kasi po, nai-improve po natin, hindi lang po yung pagtuturo natin, pati yung sarili po natin. Yung
Now let's move on the second discussion. So, the salient provision of RA 1091-2, the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. So, when we say salient, it means it's important provision of Republic Act 1091-2, which is the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. In this provision of Republic Act, a lot of questions have been raised about RA 1091-2, or otherwise known as the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. Many a teacher resist CPD, which is the Continuing Professional Development. It is claimed to be extra expense, extra effort, and extra time, when in fact it is very professional's obligation. So meaning, many teachers raised about their claim about the extra expenses and extra effort or extra time, when in fact the CPD or continuing professional development is every professional's obligation, which means every teacher needs to go in CPD, which is very important or salient to us as a teacher. CPD is the only way professionals can sharpen their competitive edge in an international world that has become global village. So meaning, the need for CPD is heightened by Asian integration and internationalization, which are now real in our being millennial. To begin, a professional must meet international standard, which is the way to go in CPD. The purposes of CPD for professional are stated in Republic Act 1091-2, Article 1, Declaration of Policy. It has been said that it is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote and upgrade the practice of professions in the country. Toward this ends, the state shall institute measures that will continuously improve the competence of the professionals in accordance with international standards of practice, thereby ensuring their contribution in uplifting the general welfare, economic growth, and development of the nation. So, meaning in this context, the state policy on promoting and upgrading the practice of professions in the country and the institutions are of measure to continuously improve the competence of the professional in accordance with international standard. So last topic, we talk about the purposes of the CPD, which is the to continuously improve the competence of the professionals. Or being a teacher, you need to go in CPD in order to continuously to improve your skills, academic performances, and such. And gives Filipino professionals a competitive edges in the Asian region and in the world. So meaning, hindi lang siya sa country natin, kundi pang buong bansa. At hindi nga lang siya sa pang-Asian region, pang buong bansa pa siya. So, CPD, we all know CPD is continuing professional development. So, it refers to the process of the training and developing professionals' knowledge and skills throughout independent participation based on the interactive learning. So, to improve their capabilities with the help of certified learning. So, meaning continuing professional development help you to improve more skills and more learning or interactive learning. Let's move on to the number of CPD units required. Article 3, Section 10 of the same CPD Act stated that the CPD is made as a mandatory requirement in the renewal of the Professional Identification Card, which is PICS, of all registered and licensed professionals. So meaning, according to Article 3, Section 10 of the same CPD Act, CPD is mandatory or needed requirement in the renewal of Professional Identification Card, which is the PICS. So in every all registered and licensed professionals. So how many credit units are required for renewal of PICS? So for the professional teachers group, based on Professionals Regulatory Board, for professional teachers resolution number 11 series of 2017, the following credit units are. So as you can see at the table, the period of time is December 2017, January to December 2018, January 2019 onwards. Next word naman is number of credit units required, which is ang katapat ni December 2017 is si 15 credit units. And then yung January to December 2018 is 30 credit units. And last one is January 2019 and onwards, which is 45 credit units. So, patagal ng patagal, yung number of credit units na required is tumataas din. Ganun po ang needed or base sa Professional Regulatory Board for Professional Teachers Resolution number 11 series of 2017. So, these are the numbers of CPD units required. So, next, we talk about the ways by which professional teachers can earn credit units that we'll discuss by the next discussant.
Ways by which professionals earn credit units, as shown in the figure below, CPD credit units can be earned in 4 ways. Number 1. Professional track. Professional track, this includes training provided by CPD providers. Accredited by PRC. You can earn credit unit as a participant to a training approved by the CPD Council. You earn more credit units if you serve as a resource speaker, trainer, or demonstration teacher. You also earn credit units as panelist, reactor, facilitator, moderator. You earn much more if you're assigned by the CPD Council to monitor the conduct of an approved CPD program. So the professional tracks includes training offered by various accredited CPD providers that are approved by the CPD councils. Prior to offer in professional track, it includes training provided by the CPD providers accredited by PRC, participate to a training by CPD council. They will serve as a resource speaker, trainer, or demonstration teacher. Also a panelist, reactor, facilitator, moderator. It will be assigned by the CPD Council to monitor the conduct of an approved CPD program. Number 2. Academic track. This refers to the completion of a master's degrees, completion of candidacy to doctorate program, completion of the program, completion of a postdoctoral diploma, and being a recipient of a professional chair grant and or fellowship grant. The note that only completion of the master degree is given fully credit unit of 45. Earning MA unit is not given any credit unit, but completion of candidacy for the doctorate degree already entitles 1 to 45 credit units. The master and doctorate degrees must have been earned 5 years before renewal or professional license. So, the academic track, this is applied under self-directed learning modality. They will need of completion of master's degree, completion of candidacy to the doctorate program, completion of the doctorate program, completion of a postdoctoral diploma, and the recipient of a professional chair grant and or fellowship grant. Number 3. Self-directed track. This includes training offered by non-accredited CPD providers. It refers to learning activities such as online training, local international seminars, non-degree courses, institution, company, sponsored training program, and the like, which did not undergo CPD coordination but may be applied for and awarded CPD units by the representative CPD councils. In addition, self-directed track includes serving as a coordinator, ISO, ISA, PACU, COA, PAAS, CU, AAA, CUP, and etc. It also includes study tours and socio-civic activities using the profession. So the self-directed track includes training offered by non-accredited CPD providers to be applied under the self-directed learning modality. It includes study tours and social civic activities using the profession. So number 4 is productive scholarship. This means that the professional teachers has developed program, training, module, curriculum guide, or any other resource material, or the professional teacher has written an article in the professional magazine, or a technical research paper, and even better if the technical paper is published in a referred peer review professional journal. Best if the professional teachers write a book or a monograph or come ups with the invention or creative work. For the letter entitles him, her to 45 credit units, even professional and or lifetime achievement awards from the division level to regional, nation, and international level, make the professional teacher 10 credit units. So the productive scholarship, they develop program, training, module, curriculum guide, or any resource material, has written an article in a professional magazine or a technical research paper, writes a book or monograph, or come up with an invention or creative work. It also includes professional and or lifetime achievement award.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. So I believe you already know what is CPD, or Continuing Professional Development. So today, I'll be discussing CPD plan, or Continuing Professional Development Plan. So under CPD plan, we have developing a personal CPD plan helps leaders develop purposefully. So having a CPD plan is great because teachers doesn't have to be monitored, and those professional teachers who has a CPD plan, they have a sincere intent to grow professionally. Also, we have professional teachers formulating the respective annual CPD plan and faithfully observing them lead to the building of a CPD culture among professional teachers. So in that way, those professional teachers wouldn't think this as an obligation, but rather it is something they owe to themselves as a professional and to the public they serve. And that is what we called professionalism. So those are the things under CPD plan. So now let's jump to the templates for a CPD plan. Actually, we have two templates for a CPD plan. The first one is what DepEd is usually using, and it's for the general. And the other one is a personal CPD, which is from the word itself, personal, so it's for individual. It's for us as a future educator. But actually, comparing those two, they are basically similar. But let us focus on the first CPD template, which is the individual plan for personal development, or also known as IPPD. So under IPPD, we have objectives, method or strategies, resources, time frame, and lastly, success indicator. So let's start with objectives. So in the objectives, you just have to put there what are the competences you need to enhance within yourself. And then for the method or strategies, of course, what are the activities you will execute in order for you to achieve those goals or objectives. So, and for the resources, you just have to put there, so those are the things you will needed in order for you to achieve your objectives, such as books or even information that you browsed through internet. And then for the time frame, you just have to put there on how many days will it take for you to accomplish it, for you to accomplish your objectives. And lastly, for success indicator, you just you will put there the competences you've already enhanced, but you will just not put the competences you've already enhanced. You need also to put the competences of the students that they've already enhanced, and the competences that could have been improved, such as reading comprehension, vocabulary, and so on. So let us discuss the personal CPD plan. So under personal CPD plan, we have training needs, objectives, activity, resources needed, time frame, expected output, and expected outcome. So let's start with the training needs. So in training needs, you have to plan for it first so you can achieve your objectives like teaching strategies. Hence, you can draw your students' attention, particularly those students who are stubborn or those students who has a low performance. Thus, you can motivate them. For the objectives, in the objectives, what are you gonna do to accomplish what's inside the training need? And then for the activities, what are the activities you will execute to address your needs? The resources needed, what are your needs to achieve your personal CPD plan? For instance, human, particularly those professional teachers so that they can guide you. And for materials, we can say laptops so that you can browse an information through internet. And for the time frame, you just have to put there when are you going to start or when did you start planning your personal CPD plan. And for expected output, what are the results or what kind of results you are expecting with your personal CPD plan? The expected outcomes, what results does this CPD plan or this activity give to you and with your students? For instance, your teaching strategies became convenient and immersive. And for your students, their performance and scores improved.
Joining professional learning community or communities of practice. CPD is made possible and alive through professional learning communities. These PLC are powerful collaboration in which teachers work together to analyze and improve their classroom practice in a systematic process. PLC is a group of educators that meets regularly, share expertise, and work collaboratively to improve their teaching skill and the academic performance of the student. PLC is a group of educators that giving their thoughts, sharing their expertise effectively to collaborate each of them to develop their communication style, their practice teaching technique in a systematic process. Napaka-importante po ng PLC natin kasi tumutulong po siya sa pagde-develop ng isang guro, lalo na kung ikaw ay baguhan lamang. Next one, the Department of Education institutionalized the School Learning Action Cell or SLACs as a mechanism for CPD. When we say SLAC, this is a test group for a new instruction to marketing new idea. Ginagamit po siya ng mga hindi lang po baguhan, pati yung mga datihan na nating mga guro para maging mas ma-develop pa yung kanilang mga teaching skills. And also, it is an interview within beginning teachers and administrators on conditions that help them improve their own practice. The answer boils down to the working in a school with an integrated professional culture. Like I said a while ago, it helps to teachers to improve their academic practice in own their practice. And also when we say culture integrated, adapt practices from another without diminishing others' culture. So malaking tulong po talaga yung SLAC para sa mga ating mga guro para ma-develop, ma-improve yung kanilang teaching style o teaching practices at na pag na-develop po yon, magkakaroon po tayo ng quality education, at para sa mga estudyante, magkakaroon tayo ng quality learning or satisfaction. At malalaman po agad natin yon sa ating mga estudyante dahil natututo po sila.
At this point, we will be talking about the CPD in Singapore. As you know, CPD means Continuing Professional Development. Now, I have searched regarding overall best countries ranking, and I'd like to share it to you. This is from the US News. Okay, this is the 2021 rankings. This last year, and out of 73 countries in 2020, Singapore ranked number 16. And as of last year, as of 2021, Singapore ranked number 14 in best countries overall. There you can read the definition or the content. It says the gross domestic product per capita is high and unemployment is low, making Singapore one of the wealthiest nations in the world. And probably, obviously, their education system as well is, is really good. Okay. Now, according to DMOC and TAN 2013, Hiron and DMOC 2011, Singapore is the first country in the world to adopt the Professional Learning Community or PLC framework nationwide. In Singapore, after adopting this PLC framework, teachers there work together to enhance each other and to work together to enhance the classroom systematically. Okay. Next, in 2010, the Ministry of Education, or the MOE, mandated all schools to be a learning organization. This concept supports the building of a strong mentorship culture. It is more of working together, being unified, unity, collaboration, and they value the importance of community, as this approach and or this concept is more of a community oriented concept. Okay? Um, Next, schools are encouraged to provide at least 1 hour of curricular time per week for teachers to actively engage in school-based professional development or PD initiatives, and it is being led by school leaders. Okay, there 100 hour per year entitled for teachers for their optional training. Okay. Now, at this point, we will be talking about Singapore's Teacher Researcher Network and lesson study and other forms of learning circles. The National Institute of Education Faculty Researchers, or the NIE Faculty Researchers, Ministry of Education, or MOE Senior Specialist, and teacher researchers with high formal research training are called research activists. They lead teachers. According to Hiron 2006, the goal is to provide teachers with resources to engage in action research. Okay, this just means this is usually a form of classroom-based investigation where teachers discuss to each other what is needed to be improved regarding the classroom environment. And the CPD in Singapore follows the steps of Teacher Researcher Network. The first step is to identification and definition of a problem. This is similar to writing a research paper, diba? You need first to come up or identify a problem. Define what problem is needed to be addressed, what issue is currently happening or currently being experienced by the classroom environment. After identifying that, of course, you will be planning for improvement. Plan what is needed to be done, plan what is needed to be applied or implemented. Okay, and after planning, there goes the implementation of teaching and learning activities. In this stage, at this point, you will be going to execute, you will be doing the action na of what you have planned. Okay. And next is after executing the particular action or method or strategy that you've planned, of course, you will be observing the results, observation of results or the data collection. Okay. What had happened after applying that strategy? Okay, observe what is the outcome. Okay, and last is reflection on the outcomes. Was it successful or was it not? If successful, then you need to continue doing good that method, continue implementing that method, and if not successful, then you need to come up with another solution or with another yes, another solution to address the particular issue or the problem inside the classroom.
At the completion of the research, participants write a group reflective journal to summarize the procedures, findings, conclusions, and implication of the study. So these action research journal are shared with other groups of teachers interested in similar classroom problems. So opportunity like a forum, symposium, and publications are given to teachers to share their research findings. Another effective strategy for PD in Singapore is the lesson study by Lewis, Perry, and Hurd on 2004, adapted from Japan. The overall goal of the lesson study is to foster collaborative inquiry and data-driven pedagogical reflection among teachers. It consists of 4 clinical phases by Tan on 2014. First is the study phase, where teachers analyze the curriculum to be taught and formulate long-term teaching and learning goals. So it is like an objective of study where it helps define goals, identify conflicting activities, guide elements of the decision-making process to be able to formulate a quality where lots of students will learn from it. Next is the planning phase, where teachers select lesson for research, predict students' thinking and difficulties, and plan the implementation of specific lessons data collection. So it helps the teachers to make sure that the students understand the goal and what needed to do to reach it by involving everyone in the planning process. And next is the analysis phase, where teachers observed and discussed the classroom evidence collected, like videos and students' written works. So this is where the teachers is having the opportunity to dig into the details of classroom activities to eventually begin into the right execution of the lesson. Last is the reflection phase, where teachers discuss student learning and identify new areas for further inquiry. So much of the professional of Singaporean teachers occurs within school setting through the learning circle of learning terms, with the widely accepted concept of school as learning organizations, and with teachers' welcoming attitude to PD, there are a number of work-embedded opportunities for PD. Topics for PD range from curriculum innovation, student-centric teaching practices, new users of ICT, and collaborative lesson to project-based learning.
CPD in Finland. Teachers in Finland will meet one afternoon in each week to jointly plan and develop their curriculum. They were also encouraged to work together and to share materials because Finland is one of the most leading country in terms of education. Finland is also leading in terms of developing CPD.
CPD in Japan. Japan is well known for lesson study, right? But how does Japan do the lesson study as a strategy for professional development? Below is detailed description of how Japan implements a lesson study. Every teacher periodically prepares a best possible lesson to demonstrate strategies to achieve a specific goal. For example, students becoming active problem solvers or students learning more from each other in collaboration with other colleagues. A group of teachers observe while the lesson is taught and usually record the lesson in a number of ways, including video tapes, audio tapes, and narrative or checklist observation that focus on areas of interest to the instructing teacher. For example, how many students volunteer their own ideas? Afterwards, the group of teacher and sometimes outside educators discuss the lesson's strength and weakness, ask questions, and make suggestions to improve the lesson. In some cases, the revised lesson is given by another teacher only a few days another or later and observe and discuss again. The teacher themselves decide the theme and frequency of research lesson, and large study groups often break up into subgroups of 4 to 6 teachers. Two subgroups plan their own lesson but work towards the same goal, and teachers from all subgroups share and comment on lessons and try to attend on the lesson and follow up discussion. So most lesson study meetings occur during the hours after school lets out. The research of lesson allow teachers to refine individual lessons, consult classroom practice, reflect on their own practice, learn new content and approach, and build a culture that emphasizes continuous improvements and collaborations.
CPD in New Zealand. In New Zealand, the Minister of Education given funds for 20% release time for new teachers and 10% release time for the second-year teachers. Minister of Education to observe other teachers, attend professional development activities, courses and work on curriculum. Mentor teachers deliberately spend time to observe and confer with beginning teachers. So in CPD in New Zealand, the funds for 20% release time for the new teachers and the 10% release time is for the second year teacher. In CPD in New Zealand, they will have funds for teachers and observe and confer the teachers.
Now, moving forward to the characteristics of effective CPD, based on the professional development practices and experiences of high-performing countries, we can say that a CPD that works is, first, from the word itself, continuing professional development. CPD is continuous. Meaning to say, CPD is an ongoing process of developing, maintaining, and documenting your professional skills. The second characteristic would be CPD is collaborative. From the word itself, collaborate. An individual collaborate with one another and share their learnings that will benefit both the parties to have their professional development to thrive. It was Helen Keller who said that alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. The third characteristic of an effective CPD would be it is focused on a specific teacher need. It responds to a need and so is highly relevant to the teacher. For example, when a teacher is having a hard time to come up with a strategy to approach his or her class, he could ask advice or guidance from his colleagues who have experienced the same thing before, so that he could come up with a strategy or an approach to have a communication with the class, enable for him to bring a better learning outcome. However, a CPD that is prescribed by higher officials does not necessarily respond to a teacher's need. Next characteristic of an effective CPD is it is job embedded. Continuing one's professional development can be done during work hours. For example, as a teacher, you have a vacant time. When you have no urgent matters to tend to, you can use your free time to practice your CPD by mentoring your colleagues, something like that. And then the teacher has not to be removed from his work, since doing or practicing the CPD does not disrupt his way of work, because what the teacher is trained on is what exactly he or she is doing during the CPD process. The next The next characteristic of an effective CPD is given enough time. Quality CPD demands adequate time by using your vacant time as a teacher to practice or exercise CPD. For example, during your 1 year of being a teacher, you use 10 or 20 hours of your vacant time to practice or to exercise your continue your professional development. What is 20 to 20 hours of removing contact time with learners, when the one who will be benefiting at the end of the day would be you and the learners themselves? The last characteristic for an effective CPD is it has to be funded. CPD with support funds is way better than one without. For example, funding a team building event in your CPD institution. In that way, you do not only socialize with your colleagues and peers, but also you are benefiting from it, since you are exchanging teaching ideas, strategies, experiences with each other that the other party could use for the betterment of their teaching career and to continue their professional development.